in the universe. So we are just a small minority representation of the mass budget of the universe, the matter that we are made of. We don't have a clue as to what dark matter is. It's just a label. And we don't know also what the vacuum is made of. That's dark energy. So the dark components are just a label, of our ignorance.
Something we don't know.
We don't know, and we still get paid. That's the strange thing.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's a good job.
I mean,
There's
if I lose my job, I'll come and work for you.
There you go. We've always got a spot for you.
Okay.
So, by the way, dark matter is very weird because matter, as we know, including hydrogen in the sun and matter here on Earth, you can see it.
Right.
So the dark matter doesn't interact with light at all.
Right.
And we don't know anything like that to have ever existed within our realm, have we?
The closest we got to it were particles that are really interacting very weakly with matter. They're called neutrinos, and they're produced by nuclear fusion. So, for example, the sun is a nuclear reactor. Just think about it. Nuclear reactor kept together by gravity. That's what the sun is. It's a fusion reactor. You take hydrogen atoms and smash them because the temperature is very high at the center, so they collide with each other, and every now and then they fuse to make helium, and that releases energy, but releases also neutrinos, and the neutrinos escape from the sun. We detected them. So even though they're very weakly interacting, we can detect them. So in principle, we know of particles that interact very weakly with matter, but dark matter is at the extreme because we haven't detected it at all. And we invested
a lot of mass.
A lot of mass passing through our body, presumably right now.
Yeah.
And scientists invested $10 billion in the Large Hadron Collider, $10 billion in Europe, CERN, in search for one type of dark matter that was very popular. It was associated with supersymmetry, which is some new symmetry of nature. And for decades, when I started astrophysics, everyone was arguing it's very likely that the dark matter is made of the lightest particle that is associated with supersymmetry. It's called the lightest supersymmetric particle. And so they decided, let's fund a collider that smashes particles, and maybe this particle will pop up. And it was in the natural range of parameters, so they invested $10 billion. Now, of course, the Large Hadron Collider discovered the Higgs boson, and the Nobel Prize was given for that, but that was old news. What we really wanted to find is the dark matter. We haven't found it. So I say, look, we invested $10 billion. We didn't find the dark matter. Even if we were to find the lightest supersymmetric particle, it would have very little implications for humanity in the future, for the private lives of people. If we invest only 1% of that, let's say $100 million, in the search for extraterrestrial probes or equipment, it would change the future of humanity if we find something. We haven't done it. So I say something is wrong in the way that, in the focus that we put on the search for dark matter relative to the search for probes, because both of them we have a lot of uncertainty about. And obviously the taxpayers, the public, really wants to know if we are alone. So it's not a waste of taxpayers' money, it's a reflection of taxpayers' money.
Right.
So I would argue that this should become part of the mainstream. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence should be the mainstream of astronomy. And of course, what my colleagues say, they say extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I say extraordinary evidence requires extraordinary funding. If you don't put the money, you could have argued the lightest supersymmetric particle is an extraordinary claim and then put nothing towards that, and we would never know. But of course, to break the frontiers of science, you need to put money into it. And if you don't fund the search for equipment from other civilizations, you will never find it.
If you had unlimited check, what would you do? How would you?
Oh, that's the Galileo. I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Currently, I have a few $1 million. What I need is something at the level of 100 million to do a very thorough study, for example, of what the government calls unidentified aerial phenomena.
This is the thing that we've been reading about in the New York Times and unclassifying. You hearing all about it, of yeah, stuff going on. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, so exactly a year ago,
Yeah.
I was in a forum called the Ignatius Forum in the company of the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines. She received a bachelor's degree in theoretical physics. And I was chatting with her, in the green room. And I asked her, Avril, what is your gut feeling? What do you think these objects are that you don't identify? And she said, I don't know. And I frankly think that, the government is not a scientific organization.
She wouldn't tell you the truth if she did know, right? She'd be
No, she would tell me the truth, and I trust her because she's a physicist in training.
Would she be like, they're aliens? Whisper.
Okay, well, so then we went on stage, okay?
Yeah.
There was also Bill Nelson, the head of NASA, and Jeff Bezos was there as well.
He's out of his element, right? He shouldn't be up there on stage.
Well, he was saying,
Like, he sells, he like ships shit. Like, why is he up there with people?
well, he wants to ship it to space now.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So he would ship,
That's
Amazon
rich,
will
I think.
deliver to space, okay?
But if he wants to help you, I think we know how. $100 million.
Well, what he was saying is his ambition is to put like a huge, tens of billions of people in space. And then the Earth would be just like a national park. You come and visit it every now and then, but most people would be out there. And he said he was inspired for that by watching Star Trek as a kid. So I whispered to Avril, who was sitting next to me, and said, I never liked science fiction. It didn't make sense to me because it violates the laws of physics. And she said, Avi, we have to work on you. But then, she went on stage and she said, obviously these unidentified objects are a mixed bag. Some of them may be human-made and some may be natural, but, it may well be that a small number arrived extraterrestrially. She said that. And, to me, it just implies that these are intriguing reports that we should